Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, All The Talks. My name is Goslove and I'm your host. And if you're new today, I'm glad that you're here. And please, before you leave, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. It's gonna help me out. Today we're gonna be watching a series by this YouTuber in Japan on what it feels like to be black in Japan. So let's jump into it.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Darion. I'm from America, and I'm particularly from Louisiana, like the central Louisiana.
So how long have you been in Japan?
I've only been in Japan for a week so far, but I did go last year for 1 month, a part of the school program here.
I don't know,
So
but
how long will you
bro
be
asked a
staying?
little sauce.
I'll be staying in Japan for 1 year.
What's it like, being in Japan?
Okay, that's a really good question. I feel like when it comes to being black in Japan, it's no different from being maybe like another color. Now, just in the Asian countries, white is favored more, merely because that's just how it's been for a long time. The color white is favored, not necessarily the character of the person, but just the appearance. Like if a Japanese person sees a white guy and he's like mildly attractive, it's like, oh, that guy is like cool, he's super cool, he's white or whatever. But
So it's not just in
that's not
America.
nowadays. I feel like it's more so whenever you come here, you're a foreigner. You're not black necessarily, you're not white necessarily, you're a foreigner. And there's only a few Japanese people that might look at you as color. For example, there's a lot of Japanese girls that like gyaru, and a lot of them really like hip hop culture. I'm just using Japanese. Gyaru. However you say it. I'm only using Japanese girls for example. There's also guys too that are also like hip hop. So a lot of girls that are into that, they like hip hop and whatnot. So when they see a black guy, it might be more of a like a spectacle to them, right? That's the only case where race might play a part. But for the most part, in Japan, it's mostly just like, oh, you're a foreigner, right? Instead of just like, oh, you're black, you're white, you're Mexican,
I've heard that before.
So when it comes to relationships here, you have to be very, very, I guess, particular with what you might say and how you might convey something.
Okay, let's say you're dating a Japanese girl. Like, is there any problem? Could be like language, could be like culture difference, or like whatever.
Good question. So one problem could be a case of being fetishized because of the race. The one problem can be they just see you as a novelty, right? And I've seen this in many interviews with foreigners on Japan. It's like if you're like black or whatever, it's like a novelty, right? So they might not.
And this is not the first time I'm hearing that. I've heard that a lot. Just because you're black, I don't know, but they have this it can be like a fetish thing to where they see blacks in more like a sex symbol, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is not the first time I'm seeing that or hearing that rather.
Not completely like you for you. Oh, I'll tell you an experience I did have. I was talking to a Japanese girl online, and we talked for a very long time. I don't know if she's Manhattan, I'm not sure. She was a little bit crazy. But we were talking, and she's very sweet and whatnot. But she would have these weird moments where she would get like really drunk and whatnot or whatever, and then she would like block me. She was blocking me, right? And it seemed like she kept blocking me, and then she just blocked me altogether. So I don't think she
That's funny.
necessarily liked me personally. It was kind of like, oh, this is a black guy, he's a spectacle. Let me talk to him for a little bit or whatever, and then move on. Right. And I've heard a lot of other people talk about that same experience where it'll seem like someone's into them, and then it's kind of just like they kind of distance off once they get their fix of a foreigner, So
I've heard that a lot.
It's not with every Japanese. I'm not going to say that, but it's some of them are like that, especially counting like what their niche is. So.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Umi, and I'm from Florida, and I've lived in Japan for 2 years.
What brought you to Japan?
I wanted to study Japanese, and since I was a
That's
kid,
pretty cool.
I always wanted to live here.
What's it like being black in Japan?
So it's different from being a foreigner. Those are two different things. Technically, yeah, they're the same, but also different. Being black, I would say, has its difficulties. Like, I get stereotyped a lot. Actually, in Japan. So with
And I can imagine her being a black woman. She most likely will have it a little bit more difficult than the guys. Cause the stereotype is, Japanese women, they are into black guys, or they see them as, like I said, or like he was saying, they see them as, novelty. They see them as something they want to try. They see them as a sex symbol. I'm not quite sure it works the same way, the other way around, like with Japanese guys wanting to experience black women. I'm not sure if it works that way, but I'm just saying I haven't seen much women talk about it as much as the guys do. So that's why I'm assuming it might be a little bit more difficult for her than it would be for the guys.
my job, I work with kids, and so when I first meet them, they cry because of my skin tone. I get a lot of derogatory terms sometimes with
that is sad.
People, like they called me like a monkey.
No, that's really hurtful.
The N-word a few times here.
I didn't even know Japanese did that.
Also, it's been really good too. So like, because I'm black, I stand out a lot. And so people come to me more usually than most. So like if I'm with my friends who are like, let's say white, Japanese people will come to me first because I look more different, I guess. Maybe because I dress pretty Japanese. So.
Is there any pros and cons like being black in Japan?
Yeah. Okay, so the cons are, of course, people will stare at me a lot, but I'm pretty used to that. Stare at me, so some of this discrimination. But the pros are, so if I apply for a job, there's not a lot of black people usually that apply for jobs, so I'll get picked more often than not because they want something new, something fresh.
That's pretty cool.
Alright, is there anything that you want to share your experience in Japan, like being black?
Yeah, so I guess being black in Japan, I use dating apps sometimes to talk to guys, and a lot of people there will say like, oh, I've never talked to a black person before, so usually I'm the first black person that I've gone on a date with a Japanese guy. For the most part, it's pretty nice, and I would say like, there's a group of like Nigerians that live in like Harajuku and Shibuya and stuff, and me because I'm black too, so they will, we try to have each other's backs. Yeah. Also, because I'm black,
I'm Nigerian, by the way.
In Japan, a lot of Japanese people assume that I can't speak Japanese, or they assume that I'm from Africa, or...
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if she is, but what she said she's American. But when she first started talking, I thought she was African as well. So I can see why. Because she sounded like she had an accent, like mine, from the beginning, and that's why I just thought she was African.
If I tell them that I'm American, then they get surprised because I think a lot of Japanese stereotypes towards African American women are that everyone is pretty heavyset, fat. So that's a big stereotype here with being.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, like I said, they assume I can't speak Japanese. So when I do speak Japanese, they get really surprised. So because I think they assume like me and my friends are together. She's white, I'm black. They assume she can speak Japanese, and I can't. So that happens quite a lot. And usually it's opposite. They can't speak Japanese, but I can. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It would be cool to know how to speak Japanese.
Do you see yourself in Japan in the future?
Yes, I plan to live here as long as I can. I want to try to live here forever. Hope that's my plan because I really love living here, even though Japan has its pros and cons everywhere around the world. I
feel like that's pretty much everywhere. Here in America, we have our pros and cons. So it's not exclusively to any particular country, but I get what she's saying.
Pros and cons. So I think, like, as an African American woman, as a black woman, no matter where I go, I'll always get discriminated against for being black.
Even in America. Maybe worse in America.
Alright, thank you so much. Do you speak Japanese?
少しだけ.
Can you introduce yourself in Japanese too?
じゃあ、はじめまして。私の名前は海です。2年くらい日本住んでいる。
Man, that's pretty cool, man. I wish I could speak Japanese.
ペラペラじゃないだからもっと勉強したいです。はい。
ありがとうございます。Alright, thank you so much.
Bro, she said a little bit. I feel like she just gave us like what, a whole paragraph. That is not a little bit. If you can say a whole paragraph without even looking at a book or anything, that is no longer considered a little bit, in my opinion.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, could you introduce your background?
So, my name is Christopher Holman. I'm from America, the United States. I'm Jamaican and Haitian for nationality. I was raised in like the sub area of Long Island, if you know where that's at. And I'm studying abroad here in Japan I've been here for a few months, 2 months so far, so I'll be here for another month or so.
Alright, how do you like it here so far?
I like it a lot here so far. It's a beautiful city, a lot of things to see, a lot of great sights. The culture here it's fun. Like, people are super nice. We go into izakayas and drinking. It's amazing. The food here is great, and there's a lot of things to do and a lot of opportunity, which I haven't tapped into yet. But like, you can just see it around the place. There's so many things to do.
Alright, so what's it like being black in Japan?
I think it's a bit overwhelming at first, to be completely honest, because like, coming from America, specifically being from the Philly part, it's like a whole different culture and experience. Like, you have to sort of like relearn how to navigate that. I think sometimes people staring and stuff, and like getting like not weird, those people looking at you. It is a bit like it caught me off guard a little bit. That in itself is its own experience. But like, besides that, I think like personally, I've been saying to myself a lot to try to avoid all that. So it's not the worst experience, but I think like if I was here any longer than a few months, it'd definitely be something I have to really search.
Together, we will save our people from this tortured existence.
Or not get used to.
Is there any like negative thing that you didn't expect in Japan?
I think the negative thing I didn't expect was like sometimes people can be a bit standoffish here and like cold and reserved, and like that's never a problem because they live your own life, of course. But like for my personality, it is like I'm used to like talking to everybody and like wanting to connect with people, and like you feel like you can't really have that too much over here. At least what I experienced so far.
Is there any pros and cons being black in Japan?
I think pros is that like, you know, you just can be in your own world. No one's really bothering me in terms of like physically bothering me, and like that I can just live my own life, and I guess that's a really nice part.
It is.
Girls and men here are super like receptive of me and like can be understanding at times if they say I don't speak English, they, you know, try to work with me and stuff. But like I think the cons are like it is just like it's hard to relate to the people and like other experiences because like my experience is so like it's its own thing, so it's difficult to actually connect with people on that.
There are a lot of Japanese people who has dreads.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? What can I ask?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't ever think it's my place or something.
I have some
yell
too.
somebody for you, matter somebody on their own life, but like, I do think it's a bit strange. Just because dreadlocks do have a bit of a religious significance. Japan has its own like culture and things that they can add into their own life. It's important to at least know what they mean or present if you're gonna be wearing dreads. So it's like it's never like a big problem or something to like get mad at, but like it is like a bit like that's weird.
Alright, so you feel kind of weird.
A little bit. Like I don't let it bother me that much, and just like it's not like my biggest focus of attention, but like it is something that I noticed. Like, oh, that's like a non-black person wearing dreadlocks.
Do you speak Japanese?
That's
Not
interesting.
Really.
I don't think I've ever seen any Japanese person with dreadlocks. I've seen a couple of white with dreadlocks, but I haven't seen like, you know, an Asian person with one. So that would be cool to see.
With textbook and some like writing books to practice. I know some like basic phrases and stuff like that, but like I don't really know it that well.
Alright, like do you want to say something in Japanese?
I guess
I mean, that's pretty cool for being there 2 months.
Thank you so much for watching so far.
But yeah, guys, I think, you know, for the most part, it would be cool to visit a place like Japan, for instance, and experience it for myself. I have this thing where I'm trying to travel more, and Japan is actually in my list. I have Japan, Thailand, Switzerland, and Australia. I think those are like my main 4 places that I want to go. So it'll be cool to experience that. It'll be cool to experience that. myself. But yeah, thank you guys, man, for tuning in today. And before you leave, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. That's really gonna help me out, and I'll see you guys next time. One love, guys.